Welcome back, guys. And this is Kaushik, and we are going through the JavaScript series where we are just looking at some of the most fundamental concepts of JavaScript. Uh, so I already told about what's going to be my plan, and this is the second of the series. You should definitely go and look into the first part in order to understand like what's going to be the what's going to be covered in the next few videos. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the few more concepts, some of the again like very fundamental concepts of JavaScript before moving on to the advanced ones, right? So what we'll do is we'll take some code snippets, small code snippets, and just illustrate how some of the basic things are getting used in JavaScript. Okay, so this is one of the first program that we had executed in Node.js runtime. Let us look at the next one, which I have for you. Okay, so no, not just change it once. Yeah. So this is gonna be our the second program. Okay, I'll just take out everything which is commented just to make it simpler for you. So in this program, we're just going to illustrate the concept of variables in JavaScript. As you see here, we have X, Y, and Z. X is a number, Y is a number, and Z is just the sum of X and Y. And to prove that everything is running fine, we just console log Z. Okay, so I'm just going to go and run this very simple program in the Node.js runtime that we have. Again, there's no such browser needed for this. Okay, and over here we can see that it gives us 13. So 5 plus 8 is 13, and we should be fine. Let's just move on to the next program. I just don't want to spend too much time on these. Okay, so the next program just illustrates again more variables and a bit of the data types in JavaScript. The number one, the string, and the object. Okay, so length is a number over here, 16, and a last name is a string variable. It contains Johnson as the value, and then we have X as defined as a JavaScript object. And as you know, like this is basically a JavaScript object definition, which is of course the JavaScript object notation as well. Okay, this is widely been accepted today as one of the protocols, that transport protocols. So the first name is John and the last name is Doe for this X. And then what we do is essentially we log all these three. Okay, so I'm just going to go and run this program in our Node.js runtime. Okay, so we go ahead and we print this. So 16 is the number variable, Johnson is a string, and that's the object for us. Okay, and even if we're going to take it further one level, we can also do one thing, is that so console log X dot first name. This would be actually utilizing the object. So you see it prints John over here. Okay, so that again like a very simple program. Let me take the next one here for you. So going ahead and moving on to next example. So I'm again taking out the commented part just to make it simple for you. Okay, so over here we have a concatenation of two strings. 16 is a string and Volvo is another string. How they are being concatenated together, and so that's what we will look at. The order matters, which you will see. It's 16 Volvo and not Volvo 16. And then like we're going to see x1, x2, x1 and x2, wherein x1 is an undefined, which is because we have not initialized x1 to any number, and because JavaScript is having like this concept of dynamic variables, which like they don't know, JavaScript runtime doesn't know what type of variable this is unless you initialize to a value, and so this is undefined. However, like x2 is initialized to a number 5, and hence it is a number at that point of time. However, that same variable x2 can be initialized to a string John, which is when it becomes a string, and hence that's what the dynamic way of defining variables, right, in JavaScript. So I'll just again comment out everything else and go ahead and just do this. And so you have 16 Volvo and not Volvo 16, and then that is going to be undefined and John. So basically if we go and look at this, so 16 Volvo, and then like this is undefined and this is going to be John the string. Okay, and now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so again I'll comment out everything else. Okay, comment out everything else. Okay, so basically now we are looking at the notion of arrays. Okay, so array is again something very fundamental to any programming language for this, so to say, and JavaScript is not an exception. It supports arrays as well. So the first one is array of strings. We have different like Saab, Volvo, and BMW, and then we are just console log the array object itself, and then again the last element in that object, the second element, the third element in the object. It starts from 0, by the way, and then we have another object called person, and we are just defining, we are just console log the first name and the last name for that particular person. What we will also do, let's say that we'll say that numbers, and we'll say 1, 5, 9, 11. Okay, so and then we will also say console log numbers. Okay, so this should be basically a an array of numbers, and then let's just go ahead. Okay, so there's a syntax error. Let's just have a look at it. So we don't have a semicolon. That should be fine. And then let's go ahead. Now there's still an error. What's the problem over here? Oh, okay. So that should not be a third bracket, right? It should be a third bracket, not a second bracket. So now I hope we should be fine. Yep. So we have logged the array and the last element, the third element, starting from 0, of course, and then John Doe is the concatenation of first name and last name for that particular object, and then comes the number array. What we will also do here is that we'll just take one more, and we will say this as mixed, and we'll say here 1, 3, Kaushik. Okay, and let's just see by having a console log for mixed. Okay, and if you see here, that takes it as well, right? So what we can also do over here is that we can also say mixed 0 and mixed 2. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the first one is 1 and the second one is caustic, so which means that JavaScript is totally dynamic variable data types, right? So the same array can contain mixed data types here. Okay, so next let us move ahead. Okay, yeah. Okay, so another thing which is very important in JavaScript is the support for equality. So, as a matter of fact, all the languages you would have seen that they have a basic minimum support for equality, right? Equality checking. In JavaScript also, we do have couple of operators actually. In actually they have three different operators for checking equality, and a lot of time you would have seen that we have at least two that comes up very frequently in different code bases. One is, of course, the very commonly used, the double equal, which we see in the other languages also. And the other one is our triple equal, okay? And for some reason, it's always confusing. So let's understand very clearly. Uh, Whenever we are using the triple equal, it means strict comparison of equal. Okay, so it doesn't take into account the type, or rather it takes into account the type also, because if we are checking for a triple equal b where a and b are of different types, in that case it comes false. Whereas if we do the same with a double equal where we check for A and B equality and A or B are not of the same types, then we get true for a double equal, because what they do essentially is that they convert A to B and then compare their values. Okay, so we can check that. For example, we can definitely do a console log for, let's say, 3 equal to 3. Okay, so we'll just check this, as well as we'll also check this a1 and a2, where both of them would come false because they are contents of the same contents, but same contents, but they are of different arrays. And in this case, both double and triple equal would give the same result as false. So let's just check this out. Okay, so if we see that at first it's false, and which means that null with undefined it's false, and then null with undefined double equal is coming as true. That's because it's not it's actually converting the types into one type and then comparing it. Okay, and then we are looking for this 3 with 3. Let's see that with double equal, and that's true also, right? That's also true. Let me just do over here 3 triple equal with 3. Now let's see. Okay, so true false, which means that the triple equal is not uh, caring for, I mean, it is caring rather. I keep this making this mistake. Triple equal actually cares for the type. Okay, double equal does not. And then, yeah, the rest I think is again like false and false, as I said. So I'll just go for the last one which I have, which is this one. Okay, so in this one, we're actually introducing another operator, which is a very new operator from ES standards, from the new ES standards, and it's called object.is. Okay, so whether this object is that object, it's very, very, intuitive semantically. So 2 and 2 is true, but 2 and quotes 2 is false. And we can just check that, as well as plus 0 and minus 0 are false. Nan and nan are the same, and undefined is not null. Okay, so we should get only yeah, the first and fourth as true. Let's just run this. The first and the fourth, they are true, the rest are false. Okay, that's what our expectation was. So I'll just wrap up this video with that, and we'll see in the next video some other advanced concepts. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Bye bye.